blowout in SIV is one thing, and blowout near a cliff in St. Hilaire is completely different.
Yeah, that's one thing which is interesting, is that people see things really individually in paragliding. It means that they are gonna say, okay, I need to do an SIV, and they are just gonna do this SIV. They are not gonna think more about it for like 10 years, but they have done their SIV. And I need to do this amount of hours before I switch to a new wing, you know. And they are always going to look at things really mathematically, rather than in a term of like, I need the SIV, and then in addition to the SIV, I need to think this through, and I need to rethink my way I'm flying paragliding, and I need to practice after my SIV to keep my skills. And you know, it's kind of a package, and people will just take one piece of the package without taking the whole package, thinking themselves really safe, and that is a really common mistake that I've seen.
Yeah, it's like SIV is if you do it once a year, it's better than not doing it, for sure. But it's like training to run a marathon. Do your marathon and don't train for a year, and then expecting to be able to run the marathon when it happens. You have to keep running, as much as possible to be able to be competitive.
Exactly. And I think what's important is that people just think that after an SIV, they need to keep practicing the skills they have learned during the SIV in a safe way. And they are, like most people, they think that after the SIV, because they don't feel confident above the water, they are not confident to fly auto rotation or stalls above the ground, you know, because it happened above the water with the radio and so on. And they stick on that. But in an SIV, you have like a lot of other stuff. We practice pitch, we practice wing overs, we practice small collapses, small frontal collapses. We practice a lot of stuff which are really easy and which are really manageable for any pilot. You know, it implies really little technical knowledge, and those skills they should practice above the ground. The thing is that after they leave their SIV, they just remember the auto rotations, the stalls, and the deep spiral, and they're like, oh, I don't want to practice that above the ground. But they forget about all the easier exercises that they could practice to get confident, you know?
Yeah, even the simple maneuver pitch is really important. Like, you need to know exactly where the wing is.
Yeah, that is kind of getting lost.
The big maneuvers, right? The stalls, the auto rotations, the spirals, they are very dramatic if you've never done it. I remember when I started flying, pulling an asymmetric by myself my heart was going. Like, it was really a big thing. And nowadays, if you have a high passive safety wing, like asymmetric is non-event.
It's supposed to be.
Most wings, modern.
Even 2D, it's supposed to be a non-event. You know, pulling an asymmetric with a folding line is supposed to be a non-event.
Yeah, and so those things can be easily practiced with a decent altitude above and a smooth enough air. Evenings are perfect for that. No bubbles, no thermals, and just start little. Take a little big gear and then make it bigger.
Build it up, but
step by step, and that will keep it more current. And then the SIV is more valuable for the rest of your season.
Exactly. And then when you move to your next SIV, you can move to other exercises, like rather than start over, you know, because there is a lot of stuff.
You don't waste time. You can actually progress more into more technical things.
Exactly.
Of the maneuvers.
Either progress more or start straight away on the things that you struggled before on, rather than again redo the whole SIV, because it's kind of pointless.
What would be the optimal? I mean, I know it's incredibly personal for each person, but like one SIV a year is probably not enough. What would be an optimal?
I mean, for me, one SIV a year plus practicing on your own is totally enough. And I would even say that the most important should be one SIV per glider that you get. So every time you change to a new glider, you should do an SIV because that is just makes sense. It's a new glider, you don't know its behavior, so an SIV just makes sense. But for most people, one SIV a year is already hardly attainable because of SIV costs and freeing time, etc. So I would say that if you are sticking to doing an SIV each time you change a glider, that would be
a minimum.
Yeah, a minimum, but acceptable. And if you do once a year, but then practice on your own, it's great. Because you can come 10 times in a year, and if you don't practice, then it's no point, you know. Of course, if you come 10 times, then you come so often that you practice in a way. But still, you know, if you don't fly in between, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you say that for the same reason, if you do your SIV and you don't do nothing after for a year, it's if anything, it's a false confidence.
Yeah. It kind of, you feel that you are taking less risk, while in the end it's exact same amount, just with more confidence.
Yeah.
It's like driving faster to a wall. You know, you will arrive to the wall. It's just you will arrive faster. That's it.
With more consequences.
Yeah, exactly.